So Ram Gopal Varma had a lot to say about the Dhurandhar 2 versus Toxic clash, calling it a battle between David and Goliath. So he said a lot of things, and we'll go through all of them. It's like a long one, as you can see. People should hire him to write essays, articles for some publishing house or something. But he's quite vocal on his Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Now, of course, it's an opinion. You can agree, you can disagree. That's totally fine, or you can just ignore it. You don't have to take it literally. It's just someone who's saying something, and it has some validity behind what he's trying to say. And there are something which I don't agree. We'll come to that, but let's just go through it. I also made a video breaking down this big clash between both the films. It's on the Nona Prince Filmy channel. I'll put the link below. You can watch it later. He's calling it the Dhuroxic Park. I think that's the official term right now for the clash. So both films are releasing on March 19th, and he's calling it a never before seen or experienced mythical archetype exploding in the grand arena of Indian cinemas. Okay, battle between David and Goliath. KGS 2 was a Goliath in the collection, and it looked tiny in front of David, which is Dhurandhar. I think in just, if you talk about Hindi collections, KGF did to 450, 460, and Dhurandhar became the highest grossing Hindi film ever with, I think, 800 plus. So that's, I think, what he's talking about. And now Dhurandhar 2, which is supposed to be the Goliath, is the new David in front of Toxic, which is a fresh Goliath. Now, this is interesting that he doesn't think it's about North versus South, which a lot of people are making it into, because Dhurandhar is a Hindi film and Toxic comes from Kannada. Basically, it's a pan-India release, but both are pan-India release at this point, but Kannada. So people are making North versus South, but that's not it, what he says. It's not Bollywood against Sandalwood. It's a clash between two cultures, not of regions, but of cinema. And that's a very interesting point, because he has talked about a lot how success of Dhurandhar shows that people are willing to accept, grounded action, grounded, realism in, big blockbuster films. And that's what Dhurandhar has done. And that it'll be interesting to see that once Dhurandhar has come and has dominated with his first film only, doing 1300 crores worldwide with everyone talking about it, and part two to yet to come. How now, if a big OTT as in over the top, mass film comes where people are flying and, a lot of cool stuff, massy movements, when that comes, will people accept it or not? Because they showed that you can still tell a grounded story, which is more engaging than having people fly off. So that's a question which is yet to be answered by the audiences. I don't think anyone can answer it for them. Now, here is something which I don't personally agree with, that the principal difference he thinks is between the two films is Dhurandhar respects the audience intelligence and Toxic presumes their dumbness. Not the word I would use, but okay, like some people look at it like that oh, massive films are dumb films. There's one way of saying spoon feeding, and there's one way of telling a story which gives you highs and big moments and celebrates the hero in a sense. So calling it dumb, I don't agree with them. Everyone, you cannot gatekeep what cinema should be, right? That is wrong, because for maybe someone it's art, it's in the craft, the things they look forward in watching a movie. And then there are people, it's just for their time pass, escapism. They want entertainment, they want to take off their mind of the real world and just get something, a story about fantasy, adventure, action, whatever, just to take off their mind of what they're dealing in real life. So you cannot say because people who enjoy those people are people dumb, and that's what those films presume, that the audience are dumb, they don't understand anything, so just show them fireworks and this and that and they'll enjoy it. So basically, saying that any film is lesser and any film is greater, I don't agree with that aspect. Yes, you can objectively view the craft, the storytelling aspect, how you have used different tools to tell the story, how efficient you are in that, and it could be any style you are going for, but how efficient are you in using visuals and audios to deliver a narrative. Objectively, maybe that's a different thing. In that sense, you can rate a film high or low. Yes, Dhurandhar is a film which is relying on the audience to decode a lot of things that's happening themselves, and yet I had to make a lot of videos where people were asking questions which should not be asked, like that was very obvious, but people understood something else and they believe something else. So there's a lot going about Dhurandhar in that sense, but it's asking the audience to pay attention, be engrossed, look what's going on. There are a lot of, hidden things or subtle things happening. And we cannot really talk about toxic, but let's take another example, KGF, where the film is, showing us everything. It is, it's not, there's not moment where it's left to the audience to decide. Actually, there are moments in KGF where it's unclear. Things are unclear, just left to the audience to decode. But other than that, it's more upfront. There's less subtlety, there's less hidden things going on. It's more about one person, one hero, and all of that. So but that doesn't mean it's dumb. Here he calls KGF as a local film that aimed at dumbness in the masses, through the name intelligence in the masses. I don't think so. I think even if you ask Dhar, he was like, oh, I want to make a film that people enjoy watching. I want to make an engrossing film. I think any director would want that. And why I find this kind of degrading is that watching art and understanding art is a very privileged thing in a society. Like, I went to a film school, I studied cinema, so I have a understanding of how to view it objectively, in that how to break it down in that sense. But any average person who doesn't have that privilege, who has just grown up watching films, and just films have been just a time pass thing in their life. There's more important things they have to take care in life, and live their life, earn money, have a family, run that, so there are a lot of things they have to take care of. So for them, that's not their priority, to understand how art works. So to bring intelligence into all of this, that, oh, if you don't understand art, you are not smart enough, or that's a very invalid argument. If all of this was taught to us in schools, and everyone was equally got the opportunity, and then then you can say, oh, this is everyone should know or understand, and intelligence can be kind of you can rank it, but not at this point. And he says that that's why the film became a global hit. I'm not sure if that's the reason. I think it's a lot many reasons than that. Dhurandhar was supposed to be one film, so the budget of total was 260 crores. That's what he says. And saying if the film made 1500 crores is proof that masses want intelligent cinema over masala cinema. That's yet to be proven. There are a lot of more mass masala films yet to come. We have to see. And my problem here is that why does it have to be either one? I don't really understand this point that, oh, Dhurandhar came, oh, everything should be like Dhurandhar. No. Just like how KGF came, everyone like everything should be like KGF, and they, tried to repeat it as a formula, and it didn't work out. Then Pushpa came, everything should be like Pushpa. Then Pathan came, everything should be like Pathan. Then Jawan, everything should be Jawan. It doesn't work like that. That initially someone, brings something like that, creates something, it's really cool, and audiences want something different to watch, and those films worked. But if you make that a formula and try to repeat it again and again and again, that's why the failures happen. It's same like how after Bahubali everyone tried to make a big mythological film, and it didn't work out that way. Now similarly, because Dhurandhar worked and it did so well, that doesn't mean, oh, this is the new formula, now copy, try to be like Dhurandhar. That's never gonna work. Everyone should make a film like they want to make, the way they want to tell that story. If Toxic is convincingly made in that over the top mass masala style, then it will work, it will click. It doesn't mean because a grounded film like Dhurandhar worked and became so big, then a film like Toxic would never work. I don't think that's any valid argument. Again, there's no proof for it, right? It has yet to happen. Let's see if really after Dhurandhar things change and people just reject all these masala films. And we have a whole history of these things happening, right? It never happens like that. If only one kind of films are made, become monotonous, and people will lose interest. They want different things. They want different kind of flavors. Especially in India, we love different flavors. Now you can say that Dhurandhar didn't, presume the audience are dumb. He added a lot of detailing for people to grasp on without spoon feeding, or without trying to bring it in front of them and showing it properly, and the audiences enjoyed that. That was a good thing that the film did. And then he talks about the 10 savage brutal truths, so let's go through them. That number one is mindless hero worship versus audience themselves discovering heroes through moral action in the story. Again, mindless hero worshipping happens in a lot of films, in a lot of films, and when they don't get it right, those films don't work. There's so many mass films come out each year, every month there'll be one, but all of them don't work because it's not done well. But when they are done well, you get KGF films, you get Pushpa. There is a way to do it. There is a craft to that also. Like SS Azamin does it the best. All his high moments, all his mass moments, he builds up to them. He just doesn't drop them and say, oh, here hero shows up, just clap for him. And these things become obvious when you see a bad mass masala film where things just don't work out because it's not done well, and then you understand why it works in these successful films. So number two is gravity defying stunts, mock physics, insult every child. Okay, if you put it like that, Dhurandhar's action so raw and real and actually feels the punches. Here again, the kind of storytelling Dhurandhar is going for, it wants to show you the brutal reality, the ground reality of the place. So the kind of storytelling it's going for, it has to stay true to all of these things. Whereas again, if you I don't think Toxic has like him shooting a lot of people and they're dying. But I don't remember when the last time, like Pushpa, okay. Pushpa, he just jumps and hits and people fly, and he like the whole last sequence of Pushpa 2, which I actually enjoyed the hell out of. I was like, wow, this is who even thinks like this? So absurd. That's why it made me so much fun for me. But I know a lot of people like, what is this physics? But that universe of the film that never showed us that gravity, like there's no rule like that throughout the film. It's not that at one point he was real life fighting he was doing, and then suddenly he's flying. That's constant throughout the two films. It is part of the world they are going for, and that's why I didn't mind it. Again, you have to be convincing and consistent. So number 3 is background scores that scream, clap and whistle now you idiots. Okay, this was a big thing in KGF. The music was just too loud. I think it could be controlled, but again, the moment has to be hit. I still remember in Triple R, like that, Ram reveal in the forest, like it was not just music, it was everything coming together to make me like I was getting goosebumps in that moment. So here I don't think he's talking about Dhurandhar and Toxic, particularly Toxic not even out yet, so you cannot really talk about it. I think he's just taking the genre of Toxic kind of films, what the kind of things they do, and he's comparing that with Dhurandhar. And again, it's a Dhurandhar storytelling that the dead silence, it works, the tension it creates, the dialogues, the moments, the way the scenes are written. It has done a great job in that. Then number 4 is 700 crore spent on one guy look like insufferable god versus 130 spent. Okay, this is again a different thing, like where they're spending that money. Again, he's comparing it to the overall thing of those kind of films and not just Toxic. I don't think Toxic budget is 700 crores, but this point of feel equally human. Again, as I said, the storytelling in KGF, I could connect with Rocky Bhai's character, where he's coming from. Yes, it is done in a very broad strokes. It's not subtle, it's not like Hamza, but again, they're different storytellings, they're different way of going about the character. I actually feel opposite. It's much harder to make me root for this invincible god than this human being. When nothing can happen to him, he can do whatever he wants, he'll kill everyone, no one can rise up against him, and to still be connected to the character, that is much more harder to make the audience believe than having a character who's very human, who we are supporting. He's a spy and we want him to succeed, but he's keeps failing, he's tumbling, try to make it work and finally delivers. Then number 5, we have treating audiences like, again, the same thing, clap, Q versus adults following a complex plot. Again, storytelling style. Then number 6 is ultra slow motion hero entry shots, and again, as I said, in I think Gully Boy also, if you remember, there is no introduction scene for Ranveer's character. When he comes on screen, he's actually in the background, out of focus. And Dhurandhar also, the way he's introduced, just a song comes and he's just walking in, that's it. No slow mo entry, no big, and that's true for each character in that story. But again, it comes down to the storytelling. And when in a film like Toxic, it is not done well, it really doesn't work. When you give slow motion to characters and you have like, why is the slow motion going on? Like, I've seen enough bad films to know like these things happen. But again, you cannot say that for Toxic yet. And if you say KGF, it was done really well. Then number 7 is reducing Indian cinema to mass hero worship rituals versus cinema that excavates the intelligence of hidden inside the masses mind. Again, he's talking about all the mass hero film that comes out. That's actually not Toxic. For me, I'm excited to watch Toxic, but it's not just because it's Yash. Because it looks like a interesting, compelling story. If it's not that, then none of these hero worship is matter. And I think this comes from someone who himself, the kind of films he has made, he keeps it very grounded and realistic, and he doesn't like this over the top stuff. So there is this biasness there. Then number 8, vulgar budgets blown on VFX fireworks, ISO sets starts just to hide creative vacuum versus, again, if it's a well-made film, someone who uses like Triple R. Just take that film, that whole through VFX CG, they create that fire sequence for Ram and the water sequence for Bhim. That's visually like one of the most beautiful moment in a film. Him jumping with the tigers out. Like, yes, it's all CG and VFX. It's again, how you are utilizing that with your brain, your imagination, your creativity. Yes, Dhurandhar also created moments which are like, still I want to go back and revisit them, and those sequences really hit hard. But that's true for the other films also. Number 9 is a film that begs audience to switch off their brains off. At this point, I'd never agree that you have to turn off your brain. That's not even a possibility. But in a saying, he's saying that turn off your brain, don't think too much. Again, there are those kind of films also, but that's not exactly what you're talking about here. Money being poured versus money being put to use. Again, not true for a lot of movies, not true for this exact clash. At the end, he said, "No, it's not my love for Aditya which made me write this, but hope for Indian cinema." Again, you cannot put the hope for the whole Indian cinema, which includes like 10, 15, film industries, all of them making films. We make 2000 films a year. How can one film decide the future of? No, I don't think so. That's true. Yes, it can positively affect, how things happen in the future. Something what Bahubali did with Rajamouli, how it changed the landscape, that we can think big, we can tell bigger stories. And also it went in a negative way also because more money and less substance. But we got better stories also. That's why today we are getting films like Varanasi, we are getting films like Ramayana, that we can think that big, we can go that far. And then it says on March 19th, we'll find out if India is Dhurandhar or toxic. Why cannot it be Dhuroxic, as you said in the start? So that's my point. Why does it have to be just one thing? Why cannot be so many things at once? There are so many people, so why do we need only one kind of thing for us? That's a question to ask yourself.